Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Temple of the Bard. Bard here speaking, here doing my deep dive review of White Widow number 1. As always, my deep dive reviews are not just a general summary, but an actual analysis of how and why the book succeeds or fails. As such, it will be containing spoilers. I'll try to give you a heads up as to when the actual spoilers happen. So the structure of this review is that I'm going to be giving an overall take, my first impressions. First impression is upon my first reading, then after I having put the book down for a little bit, clear the palate, pick it back up for a second read, and that's when I do the actual analysis. Funny story about this book is that I didn't find out about this until I learned about the comic book I Make Boys Cry. I found out that this is actually the second part of the 5th book of White Widow, so I figured may as well start with number 1, see how we go with that. So, overall take. This book is, it is painfully generic, and it needs to do more by doing less. So my first impression after reading this book was that it's essentially a knockoff of Spider-Man, and specifically Symbiote Spider-Man, Witchblade, and a little bit of a Japanese manga called The Guyver. Now, upon my second reading, I actually liked it more. I give it a little bit more credit than my first impression, but it still has some issues. So, pros. What I did like about the story is that it's a pretty simple story overall. You have a very simple young lady, college student, gets thrust into a very dangerous situation outside of her control by this mysterious company is trying to do her harm, and she has to fight her way out. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I like it. I also like that it introduces a conflict that raises some questions and that gets interest. Like, what is this project that gave her this suit with superpowers? Who are these people trying to kill her? So, I mean, what a general what's going on. So it does establish a pretty good mystery, and I did like it. Art is pretty good. Not perfect. There are a couple panels here that I felt were a little sloppy, but nothing that ruined it for me by any stretch of the imagination. I do like the art. One thing about the art that I really didn't like was the writer put some panels. He actually gives himself credit here. So art pages of all these specific pages, like this one, and it's good art. Like, I really like this picture. Another one is over here. This is spectacular. Another one like this one, but it's very different from the art of the rest of the book. I mean, to the point where I look at this character, the main character, her name is Gabrielle Garcia, is the same as that character, and the art is so different that it looks like a different character. And it's like, wait, what's going on here? And then you go back here. The two styles, while very good, are so different that it's just kind of jarring to read. And what I think happened is the creator, the writer, just had some interesting cover art and just wanted to insert it into the first issue. I can appreciate wanting to represent your creation yourself, but let your artists do their thing. This is, again, it's beautiful art, but again, this is probably less jarring than the rest of them. This is probably the one that just is such a diametric change from the rest that it is the most jarring. But still, if I just don't like it when you have more than one artist on a book and their styles are unbelievably different. Just pick a style and go with it. That's more of a personal preference, I suppose. So, be fair there. Now, what I didn't like about the book, unfortunately kind of skews the scales in terms of not so great. First of all, there's just way too many cliches. Spoiler alert! This is where the spoilers are going to start. We have the whole, oh, I'm an average girl. I'm such a shy geek girl. I'm good at studies, but I'm also good at sports. And okay, no, references herself as a geek for the second time here. We have the nerdy boyfriend who has a crush on her, who's too shy to say anything about it. We have the slightly curvy lesbian friend here who's also good at the science. It's like, oh, okay, enough with the cliches. So that's one issue. Another cliche is we have the two doctor parents, and one of them is just so involved in her work that just is completely heartless to her daughter, and that's just not necessary. Again, this is a very, very close approximation to the Spider-Man type of style of hero that it smacks of of Norman Osborn. So it's like, okay, I want to pump the brakes on that cliche a little bit there. And again, it just is too similar to Spider-Man, again, specifically symbiote Spider-Man. So here we have this suit that can change its shape. It can elongate. It becomes itself a bladed weapon, a percussive weapon. It changes its shape. It can melt on and off of her. It responds to her thoughts. It also has kind of a style of Witchblade to it, where it just happens to suddenly come upon her, and it knows what to do to the point where, you know, it kind of takes over her fighting for her. And also, again, this might be a little bit more obscure for people, but the Guyver comes to mind, where, again, this person is suddenly imbibed with this suit of armor, and this mysterious corporation is trying to get it back from her, and then they'll stop at nothing. It's like, okay, I've seen all of these before, done a little bit better. So yeah. So again, it's a question of, you know, how original are you really being here? So another problem is the dialogue boxes here during the main fight are a little repetitive. You only need to say, I inexplicably want to kill these people, or my body's doing acting all of it on its own, so many times. I mean, he essentially says the same thing throughout this whole thing, is my body is doing this on its own, and I all of a sudden want to kill these people. It's like, okay, give me more than that. I get it. Give me more than that. This is probably just a little nitpicky thing. Not really a make or break thing, but and it's also more of an art thing. So here they have friggin' lasers, and my suit can block this for me, except lasers don't have kinetic energy, so they wouldn't be acting as a net. They would take the the energy from the beam and dissipate it. So it would look more like how these bullets were stopped in the first scene, and the bullets should actually look more like that. So, you know, get your physics right there. Again, a little bit of a nitpicky thing, and nothing that ruined the book. So, and the biggest failure here, again, nothing that I said so far, like, you know, in and of itself, makes the book not work for me. And again, here, to go back to another issue, is like, oh, here is some mysterious feeling that warns you of danger. Whatever could it be? It's almost like spiders. No, bro, no. Don't be such a knockoff. do stuff that's different. But again, so to go back, or to go forward rather, the thing that really, really, really makes this not work is the lackluster resolution of the fight. So she goes on and on about how this new suit is kind of doing all the work for her, and she just wants to kill, and here she is, like, all she can think about is killing these people, and she's doing a damn good job of it too. And then we have the lead bad guy here, confronts her. Somehow, I don't know, maybe getting punched once was enough to take her back to her senses, but not really. I mean, she says, "Look what you did to my team, you monster. I killed them." Yes, we know you killed them. You spent at least 2+ pages talking about how all you want to do is kill them. That's not news. And yet, after all that, you go back to, "I could crush you to death. It would be so easy." Why are you saying this to her? Why didn't you stop in the middle of a fight to tell this person, that person, these two people that you could easily kill them? Why do you stop here? It's unnecessary. It makes no sense in the middle of a fight to just start dialoguing with people. Go ahead, monster. You have an audience. Kill me like you killed the others, except it was self-defense. So, I mean, is this simply a PR move? Show the world who you really are, except nobody knows who you really are. You've got a mask. So it makes no sense. Maybe she may be right. Maybe I am a monster, but why would that occur to you now, in the middle of a fight that you are fighting for your life defensively, and now all of a sudden you're worried about the morality of everything? Where did that sudden sense of moralizing come from? Just because you're afraid of looking like a monster? No, I don't think so. It is a little sudden, and again, here she doesn't really seem to have ever processed what's happening to her. She just says, "Oh, okay, I want some answers," and then just goes on with kind of discovering more about the suit she's wearing. But there's no stakes here. There's no emotional weight of what's happened. She just saw her father die at the hands of these people whom she just killed, and then she just killed them. When, like, this afternoon, she was just a college student. This is a big deal. And it needs more to process than what we're given here. And again, it doesn't have to be like, a whole 3 pages of agonizing and soliloquying over this. Is, but at least acknowledge it. So again, I don't want my reviews to simply be nothing but dumping on comics that I think don't particularly work. And again, let me be clear. This isn't a bad comic book. I'm not saying that this is the worst piece of crap comic ever. I did enjoy it, but unfortunately, as I said before, the cons just outweigh the pros. And there are quite a few pros in here. I think it has potential, but it just needs to be workshopped a little bit. So again, how do we, I don't want to just dump on this comic. How can we fix this? Well, first and foremost, I think you can clean up the relationships a bit. So going back to here, well, first of all, cut the cliches. She's a beautiful young woman, she's athletic, and she's smart. Why is she the underdog? Why can't she be popular, particularly if she's doing a team sport? I mean, I get that there's this idea that you appeal to your readers, and readers are typically geeks, but I mean, it gets to the point of where I think you're just pandering. She says, "Oh, we're jocking it with a jock, someone with us geeks," and she refers to herself as, okay, enough. Yeah, we get it. You're indicating you're not really giving us anything of substance there. So it just makes no sense. Again, a beautiful, sexually attractive young lady is not going to be popular, I find that hard to believe. Even if she is smart, even if she is into nerdy things, like, she'll probably be well liked. Just the fact that she does a team sport, she's a volleyball player. The fact that she does a team sport means she'll be friends with her teammates. I mean, again, I understand that that's not like a given, it's not a universal rule, but it's certainly more than likely. There's nothing to indicate that she wouldn't be friends with her teammates, or even just, people in the athletic community. Athletes tend to be well liked. Athletes tend to be more popular, particularly when they're good at what they do, and particularly when they're beautiful. Which is to say that there's no need for her to not be smart as well. There's no reason why you can't have both. And there's also no reason why, having her, if not necessarily popular, just well liked, there's nothing inherently wicked about having friends. So why not have her be friends? Again, just to avoid that cliche that's been overdone to death. Have her have a good circle of friends, a good group of friends, a solid group of friends. And as to that, why not just have her be in a relationship with this guy's name is Chase here? Why not just have him be her boyfriend? What's wrong with that? And again, I think that actually is a stronger choice, because when she is thrust into this ultra-violent world all of a sudden, how does that affect her relationship with Chase? How is that going to affect her relationship with her group of friends, with her teammates? Like, don't ignore all of that. That's all stuff that would matter to her as a character. So embrace that. And again, it adds a dynamic range to the story without overcomplicating it. So lean into her. Just make it simple. Make it simple. She's got some friends. She's in a relationship, and she's well liked, and you can do that without seeming like you're pandering to your readership, and I just think that's a stronger choice. Another thing with the friend references her being a lesbian. Why? Now, I have no problem with her being a lesbian, but why is this mentioned? Again, it smacks of pandering. It's just an info dump. This is simply exposition about the character. It doesn't belong in the story. If you want to make the character a lesbian, by all means, sure, do so. But if you want to reveal it in a way that is organic, weave that into the story. I mean, there's no need for you to just tell the reader, oh, hey, by the way, she's a lesbian, just so you know. That's not necessary. Later, in a later issue, maybe have this organization find out who she is and want to get tabs on her. Oh, they've learned that she's a lesbian, so they send one of their agents to go seduce her, to keep tabs on her, and now she goes on a date. And now it's just organically revealed over the course of the story, as it relates to the main character, her sexuality. And you do so in a way that's not blatantly pandering, just to what seems like you're virtue signaling. So again, you have your representation if that's what you're looking for, but in a organic way that matters. This is not that. It's just exposition. It's just needless info dumping. So yeah, avoid the cliches. Same thing with the parents. What's with the good cop, bad cop routine with mom and dad? Dad is not exactly doting, but he's very affectionate with her, and mom seems to couldn't care less about her daughter her whole life. Why? Clearly there's some secret going on. Clearly she does care about him, about Gabriel. Why can't she show that? I mean, presumably one answer would be, oh, she's so focused on this research and this project that so closely affects Gabriel that she doesn't have time, or she's so focused that she can't show affection. What? Like, I can understand being engrossed in your work, but if the point of your work is your daughter, I mean, there's a major disconnect there that you have to bridge. Um, it's not impossible to be focused on your work and still show your daughter love and affection. Like that, those are not mutually exclusive. It is possible to do both. So I mean, I don't. It comes off as inauthentic. Why not just have her be affectionate? I don't see the point from a narrative perspective. What is the point of having one mom just being completely close to her daughter? I mean, yes, maybe in the future it'll give them something to overcome, but it doesn't read like that. It just seems like mom is kind of schizophrenic, and again, that happens a lot. Like, it just doesn't work. So just have her be a regular loving mom, and they can still kind of keep a secret. Maybe she just isn't telling her everything, you know? Just like, oh, mom, you're not good at keeping secrets. I can tell you're not telling me something, as opposed to, mom, you don't give a damn about me, when there's no reason for her to not. I mean, there is a secret. So they share a secret about Gabrielle that they can't tell her. They're trying to keep it from the company that they work there. They're trying to keep it from the public. Okay, sure. But they both have the same secret. Why is one, able to show affection while the other is not? There's a disconnect there. So tighten that up. Where else? Cut the fat with the fight. You only need to say the same two things so many times before it becomes repetitive. Cut the spider sense. You don't need that. No, that's just no. it adds nothing while making it look like a direct knockoff of Spider-Man. So just stop. Now here's the big thing, where I think you can really, really, really turn this around and fix it. Which is, again, during the fight. Just have her win the fight outright. Have her lose control to the point where she slaughters the whole team. Just have her. It's referred to as instinct. She's like, the more she wants to kill them, she's just going off of instinct. And her instincts make her want to kill more and more, and that has to do with the spidery nature of what was injected in her by her father. So just have her win the fight outright. Just have her, because this character hasn't been established yet. I mean, she has no name. She's just maybe the team leader. Okay, well, the whole team can be killed. Then, once all the hostiles are dead, she looks around and sees the look of horror on all of the people watching her, looks down and sees the blood literally covering her hands. Then she can have the "what have I done" moment, gets the hell out of Dodge, finds a place of solitude, and then deals with what has happened. Like, just have a little moment where she's by herself, kind of coming to grips with the fact that she just killed 4 or 5 people, that her father just died in front of her, that she's been injected with this thing that makes her feel certain ways that she's never felt before, that make her do things that were seemingly impossible. Like, bring some stakes to the story. Because when she has to come to grips with this stuff, that's when it would be appropriate for her to ask these questions of, who are these people? What's happened to me? What is going on? And then that will inspire her to go leading to the answers, as opposed to just kind of immediately having this fight that she inexplicably surrenders to, and then just like, oh, what happened? Oh my gosh, I better figure this out. No. give it some emotional weight, and it would be way more powerful. Yeah. All right. So that's it. So let me know in the comments how you what you think. If you agree, disagree. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and see you next time.